Well, hello, Denton. This is Jake Laughlin bringing you another episode of Discover Denton, the show brought to you by the Convention and Visitors Bureau, highlighting events around Denton. So this week we are talking with Kim Phillips and Bob Moses and me about Beth Marie's and a new music series coming up at Unicorn Lake. For those of you that don't know where Unicorn Lake is, it's where Cinemark and Beth Marie's and Chewy's and all that stuff is, over in that area. So this one is going to be really fun. So without any more ado, here is Discover Denton.
Welcome to Discover Denton Radio. I'm Kim Phillips coming to you from the Convention and Visitors Bureau here in Denton, and thanks for listening. Today we have a guest on the show, Bob Moses. Bob's one of the owners of Beth Marie's. If you've been in Denton even just a few hours, you've probably heard of Beth Marie's. It's a staple attraction in our city, homemade ice cream, and not just one location anymore. The original location downtown on the square on Hickory Street, and now a second location here in Denton in Unicorn Lake, and it's the Unicorn Lake location that we want to talk about today with Bob. Welcome, Bob. Thanks for being here today.
Kim, thanks a lot for having me. I'm real interested to talk about Beth Marie's old-fashioned ice cream and Unicorn Lake.
And y'all opened Beth Marie's, or you guys took control of Beth Marie's in when?
In 2003. Beth Marie's was opened in 1998 there is a Beth Marie Cox, and her husband, Dr. Randall Cox. And they ran it for 5 years and accomplished a lot. Decided that they had taken it as far as they wanted to. And another local person that had a restaurant, Ken Willis, and I, and a silent partner from Dallas, decided it would be a good investment, and that's how we got involved with Beth Marie's.
Cool. And when did you open the second store?
We opened Unicorn Lake, I believe it was on July the 4th, 2009.
Ooh, that's a great way to celebrate independence.
Yeah.
And then is that the only two stores?
Those are the only two that we operate ourselves. We license Beth Marie's name to a Fuzzy's Taco in Granbury, and also we license the product to Hey Sugar that's in Roanoke, and then supply our ice cream to probably another 20, 25 locations, but those two have our name associated with them.
Okay. And then you're also in Central Market grocery stores?
We supply ice cream to all 9 Central Markets in Texas in our pints. They only carry pints, and they usually stock 10 to 12 flavors.
Well, speaking of flavors, I've had this question a lot. How many flavors does Beth Marie's actually have?
It is right at 100. It's either
That's
99
amazing.
or 101.
And you make them up?
We make them up, and we make them all in a machine that was built in 1927.
Oh, that's amazing. It's the best ice cream anywhere. Bee's Knees. I love Bee's Knees.
We were fortunate, and when we purchased the company, we also purchased about 70 recipes. And since that time, Ken loves to create flavors. We do signature flavors and various flavors, and so we've grown those now up to right at 100 flavors.
That's pretty cool. Last year, I know when we hosted the Best of the Road people here, he created an ice cream just for them. Mm-hmm. And we asked them in advance to send us their favorite flavor. If you picked a favorite flavor in the world, what would it be? And one of them said jalapeno. One of them said mint or something. And anyway, he took all of their favorite flavors and mixed it into one ice cream, and it was pretty interesting.
Well, yeah, they were great. And what a lot of people don't know is that Ken graduated from El Centro Chef School, and he was number 2 in his class. He could have gone to Europe and apprenticed over there in France or wherever he wanted to.
You're right. I didn't know that.
And he chose to stay here and had a 20-plus year career with Grandy's.
Well, I consider Ken one of my friends and didn't know that about him. So that's really interesting. Another chef in this town.
There you go.
So you foodies, pay attention. So Beth Marie's and Bob here is actually taking the lead on something new that's going to be centered right there near Beth Marie's in Unicorn Lake. Now, what is this event what are we calling this event?
Well, it's called the Unicorn Lake Summer Concert Series.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, the building that we're in, which was the first and now, as it turned out, is still the only retail building at Unicorn Lake, has 7 or 8 tenants. And since it was built, there have been a number of restaurants, banks, various health and medical centers built up around it. And being on the south end of Denton, it's often, we feel like, well, it's never been fully recognized as what it is. Cinemark, which is one of the highest performing Cinemarks in the Metroplex, is located there, and that's what most people think of when they think of Unicorn Lake. They think some of Beth Marie's and some a little bit of the restaurants. But by and large, it's a gem that's there on the southern, I'll just say southern coast of Denton. And the purpose of these concerts is to try and shine a spotlight on that area. And we're getting support from the new owner of the building, which is a company, Yutaka Commercial Group, which is an Asian group that's centered and operate out of Austin. And about, I guess a month ago, Ken and I met with the manager for the first time and brainstorming what could be done to bring some attention to the area. We hit on the idea, Ken and I hit on the idea of starting something very similar to Twilight Tunes here in Denton.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so successful.
Yeah, in downtown.
On the square. And that's how it got started. And we got support from the new owner, and we've got support from most of the tenants there in the building. So we've now had 2 meetings. We've got wonderful support from DentonRadio.com, because what we decided to do was to try and use the same type of bands that performed here on the square. We wanted it to be very family friendly, primarily Denton music, and that's what it's going to be. And it's going to be 5 Thursdays in a row, beginning August the 8th, from 7 to 8:30.
Okay, and now Unicorn Lake, is there really a lake there?
Yes, there's a wonderful lake. As a matter of fact, the original idea of the original developer, Bob Shelton, was to turn that lake into a recreational and a performance center. There was to be a stage and have festivals, etc. And so the lake exists. It's a large lake. It has a wonderful walking path all the way around it, probably about a half mile in length. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and there's a park back in there too, isn't it?
There's a park not as part of Unicorn Lake. There is a large park at the State School Road and the road that leads over to Unicorn Lake.
Okay, right there by that Sonic that's out there.
Right by the Sonic. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, so where the concerts are being held, now you can see the lake from there, right? No, actually, there's a large Hilton Hotel right between
our view of the lake, but the lake is only, if you had a big long slingshot, you could probably put a stone in the water, but you can't quite see it.
So you're right there.
We're right there. It's a beautiful area right across the street from Cinemark. There's a lot of parking around the building. There's also, I'm sure Cinemark wouldn't like us to say they have a big parking lot there, but a person has to be blind not to see it. And right now there's a lot of blank land that North Star Bank owns, but most of it is now under contract, and we couldn't have our concert there without the support of North Star Bank also. So
in relation to the Cinemark, it's the concert venue location is actually going to be right there in front of Beth Marie's?
It's going to be right in front of Beth Marie's, kind of around the big fountain. And then it's going to be very similar, if people have been to the Twilight Tunes, that's the type of event we want to have, where folks bring picnics, spread out cloths, bring their chairs. And so it'll be set up there. We also have invited, and we were thrilled when the Denton Community Market decided to come also. So,
that's great.
So set up right next to Beth Marie's will be probably 10 or 12 vendor stalls from the Denton Community Market.
And I know DentonRadio.com is planning to provide some tent locations where people can be in the shade if they don't want to be out in the open.
That's true.
So-
And when we're starting the concert late in the afternoon or early in the evening, so that the building will cast a lot of shade where we feel like most of the attendees will sit.
Perfect. Well, you mentioned downtown Twilight Tunes. One of the great things about Twilight Tunes is if you don't bring your own picnic, there's so many places where you can go and get something to eat and bring it outside. Tell us a little bit. We know Beth Marie's is there, but who else is in that area as far as businesses that are participating and supporting what's going on out there?
At the other end of the building is the Sidewalk Bistro, which serves everything from sandwiches to soup to main course meals. Also, there's a great Mexican restaurant called Los Torrillos that is also there. So up the road is Chewy's. Chewy's probably doesn't even know about the event yet, but what I, in my own mind, you're now just hearing Bob think, but I feel like that this event is going to grow to where all of the major players out there will eventually want to be sponsors and be involved with this, the banks and Chewy's and other people.
So you're seeing it probably as a annual event or something maybe even long-term throughout the year?
Well, it's hard to think it's going to be completely throughout the year with our winters because the musicians have a real hard time performing when
Sure.
it gets cold.
Yeah.
But we see it, I think, as being something that can be maybe in chunks a couple of times a year, probably in the spring, and then taking a break in July and picking back up in August and early September like
That's
we're doing
great.
this time.
Sandwiching it around Twilight Tunes,
Right.
which,
Mhm.
of course, music is our moniker. It's our signature, so it fits perfectly with how we talk about Denton out there in the marketplace on a regular basis. The thing I love about this is that, and we're beginning to see some awakening with Golden Triangle Mall, in the same vein where more and more of the city is beginning to awaken to the whole original independent brand, to the music, artistic, creative personality that we talk about when we talk about Denton, and the way people perceive Denton is going to be when they get here. And so I think it's really cool what y'all are doing as far as bringing Unicorn Lake into what's already happening like crazy downtown.
Well, yeah, and we want to make it, Denton participated in a great contest last year, and we really were declared almost the winner of the most fun small town in the United States.
That's right. Second place.
Yeah, we got second place, only a place in Florida with the whole ocean out there to compete with us. But so we want to make this a fun event. We're going to have a bounce house at least one time, and we hope more. That's tied in with the Junior Mean Green Club, where Beth Marie's is a supporter and a sponsor of that organization. And so the athletics department of UNT will support us on that.
What other kind of things will be going on in addition to the music? You've got Bounce House and Community Market, you said, was coming out.
Community Market, the Bounce House. Of course, the music is the primary thing. That's the focus of the whole event is the music. I believe one of the banks is going to have a cooling, I don't call it a cooling station, cooling tent there to make serving water and making sure that people are comfortable.
Good.
I should also say that all of the merchants and restaurants that are there in the building are going to be serving specials that day. So they haven't been identified what the specials are. We're just two weeks into the planning of this, and the event's just a week and a half away.
A week from this coming Thursday.
So it's very quick.
August 8th is the first one. Yeah, that'll be great. If you're not familiar with Unicorn Lake or don't get down there often enough, or just taking a movie and really haven't spent time in the area, this is a great time to kind of get to know that part of Denton, which has a lot to offer. For those of you not familiar with the Denton Community Market, they set up every Saturday morning in downtown Denton. So this is going to be a departure for them as well from their typical place being right here in downtown. They're going to be down there and they've got produce and handcrafts and snack foods, and it's all local.
It's all
which
local.
Is so in tune with DentonRadio.com. and Beth Marie's for that matter.
No, we're excited. We think it's something new. It's another facet of business, and that's what business is, especially in Denton. It's part of being part of the community and doing things that bring the community involvement into it.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people don't realize how much local is happening beyond downtown. It's not just in downtown.
Oh, that's true. And as Denton grows, we would like Unicorn Lake to be a destination point, just like downtown Denton and the industrial street area is now turned into quite a destination. And when you start thinking, what are we going to do tonight or tomorrow night, we would like Unicorn Lake to be in the pot too. So.
Yeah, what a great way to do it. Well, let's talk a little bit about the music. I know our listeners are always wanting to know who's playing where. So let's talk a little bit to Jake Laughlin, CEO of DentonRadio.com. He is putting the music together for the Unicorn Lake event. How are you, Jake?
I'm good. Thank you, Kim. I never get to be on this part of the show. I
know this is really fun.
I know.
I don't think we've ever done this together.
Push buttons, and I don't ever do this kind of a thing. This is cool. I'm blushing. They can't see it, but I'm blushing. Anyway, so well, we've got some really cool bands coming out. We wanted to make it like Twilight Tunes, so family-friendly stuff. And a lot of diversity, which is what I'm really excited about. We've got Gravity Feed, who played Twilight Tunes, oh, goodness gracious, I think in the last month. The month that we sponsored, we brought out Gravity Feed. And so they're kind of a funky jazz sort of a group. It's this wild mix between rock and jazz, and it's really, really fun, and everybody gets going with that.
That's a great party band, too.
Yeah. The Kerry Davis Jr. Band is coming. They're a great country band. Mockingbird Station, which is very good, kind of folky bluegrass. Wise Ruby is coming, who is probably it's wild. They're a bit of a paradox. They're the least known band out of all the bands that we're bringing, but I guarantee they'll bring the biggest crowd. They always bring a big crowd.
They have such a strong grassroots following.
Yeah, they do, big time.
Love them.
Really, really good group. Started as two main female vocalists, and now they've added drums and fiddle and the whole and it's beautiful music. You can hear them all the time on Denton Radio. We don't play favorites at all, but yeah, so they're really good group. We're still grabbing some more, and it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a really good time. And I think it's going to be diverse in that you're going to get something new every time you come, but it's not going to be so diverse in that you're going to like it one week and hate it the next. I think this is something that somebody could come all 5 weeks and never get bored with it and always enjoy what they're seeing.
Discover some new music.
Yeah.
Discover what Denton Radio is about, and discover Unicorn Lake all at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those things where once you start to get out to that area, everybody just starts to think it's Corinth. But I think with more events like this, we're going to kind of bring some of that sauce that makes Denton over to that area and say, no, this isn't Corinth, guys. This is just as much Denton as the square is, and kind of move more of that type of stuff into that area. It's really going to be fun.
I think so, too. Looking forward to it. Thank you, Jake Laughlin, for the update about the music. And Bob, we want to thank you for coming out and being on the show today.
Well, great. It's, Kim, I appreciate the opportunity to come and get to talk with you and talk with the listeners. And we look forward to seeing a lot of folks over at Unicorn Lake.
We'll see you next week then. And in the meantime, everybody out there in Denton, have a great week. And we'll talk to you on Discover Denton Radio next week.
There you have it. That was this week's episode of Discover Denton. A big thanks to Kim Phillips of the Convention and Visitors Bureau. A big thanks to Bob Moses of Beth Marie's. Another big thanks to Gravity Feed for providing the intro and outro music. I'm Jake Laughlin, your host. Join us next week where we will be bringing you more highlights of our original and independent city. And in the meantime, go enjoy Denton.